G'day everyone, it's Dan here at Pilates with Dan again with another one of our tutorial lessons on the hip and pelvis movements that we do here at Pilates with Dan. Today we'll be covering an exercise which is called the Supine Spine Twist, which is a bit of a scary sounding name, but basically it's rotating the pelvis is kind of what we're doing. We use this one a lot in our classes here in the warm-up section of a program, mainly because people coming into the studio have had a day at work or whatever and may not have rotated through the pelvis and lower back, and this is a chance to do that and just kind of warm up into that movement. You can think of this as a precursor or a prep exercise for some of the bigger rotational movements that we sometimes see in the higher level classes. But we'll break it down a little bit and have a look. Now I've got a double mat set up here today because I'm going to be, when I demonstrate some of these moves, we're going to be laying down this way. Okay, so I think it's going to give you a better idea what's happening through the hips and pelvis. Rather than me being side on. So let's break it down a little bit and have a look at the movement itself. Okay, so I'm going to have it laid out. Now, hopefully you can see here. The position that I'm going to take is with the arms out wide. That's going to give us a bit of a stable base to work from. Now, the basic version of this exercise involves both legs up in the air. So we're forming that tabletop position. Now we want to try and line up the knees and hips, and what we're going to do is we're going to take everything over to one side. So you should see that the pelvis and knees work together. So here my pelvis is lifted up on that side, and we're going to bring it back in. And we go to the other side and bring it back in. The breath pattern that we commonly use is an inhale to tip, exhale to bring it back in, because we're trying to teach you that the abdominals control the pelvis. Okay, inhale to tip and exhale to bring it back in. As we're going, what I want you to notice is the pelvis and legs move as one. What I don't want you to do when you're doing this one, and I see it sometimes in the classes that we have to correct for, is the pelvis staying still and the legs tipping over. So we're creating too much movement in just the legs. The other thing that can happen, and I want you to watch out for at home, is as you're tipping, you're twisting this direction. Okay, so that from your vantage point, your feet might pop out the side there. Okay. Try to avoid that so that the legs and pelvis move as one unit, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Okay, so that's the basic version of that exercise. Now, if having the legs up for you is not a great time, we break it down a little bit further. Okay, so you can invest in a Swiss ball, and you can prop your feet up on the Swiss ball. And what the Swiss ball is doing is just taking the weight of the legs, giving you that little bit more support, okay, and still allowing the rotation to happen. Okay, all the cues are still the same. You're going to inhale to tip, exhale back in. You don't want to twist like that. So you shouldn't be able to see your feet, okay? So that the feet go with the knees go with the hips. Inhale to tip, exhale back in. Okay, so what the Swiss ball will do is just give you that a little bit of support. Now again, if still that's not a happy pace for your pelvis, maybe the pressure on your low back, the sacrum, and the lumbar spine is just not comfortable for you, do the same exercise because we still want you to rotate, okay? So the whole goal of this is to rotate through that midsection. So we still want you to be able to rotate and introduce this movement to your body. So take the legs totally out of the equation and have the legs on the floor, still in the hook-lie position. Okay, like so. So you're just on the floor like this. This is a nice way to break down that movement and allows you to focus on what's happening through the midsection. Tip and center. Now as you tip, this top leg's foot will come off the ground, okay? Don't leave it on the ground, because if you leave it on the ground, watch the knees. If you leave it on the ground, see how they slide past each other? So I'll do that again. It slides past each other. We don't want that because that's not going to give you the sensation of what we're looking for. Keep the knees together. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale to tip. Exhale, back in. Okay, so that's the supine spine twist. So it's a really good way to introduce rotational movement, especially if your day's been stuck at a desk or in the car or driving around, that sort of thing. And it's a part of the warm-up exercises. But as you can see, we can break it down so that you can still get the movement that we're looking for in your body and introduce it in a gradual way. Okay? Now make sure you subscribe and stay in touch with some of the other tutorials that we're doing, and good luck with all your practice.